The day humanity learned it was not alone in the galaxy began like any other. On a warm June morning in 2157, strange signals appeared at Earth's deep space monitoring stations. Within hours, a huge ship entered orbit around the Earth. Panic gave way to amazement when the visitors announced themselves as representatives of the Galactic Council, a union of 27 space species. Ambassador John Miller adjusted his tie as he prepared to board the shuttle that would take him to the Council's diplomatic ship. At 53, with gray streaks in his brown hair, Miller didn't expect to become humanity's first representative of alien life. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" asked Captain Lisa Ward of the Earth Defense Fleet, her face showing concern as she walked beside him towards the shuttle. "Ready or not, they're here," Miller responded. "Better to talk than hide." The council delegation awaited them in a vast chamber with curved walls that glowed with an opaline glow. The aliens varied in shape and size. Some looked almost human, while others looked like nothing Earth scientists had ever imagined. In the center were the Sarlaxians, tall beings with 4 arms and skin that changed color as they moved. "Human," the Sarlaxian leaders spoke through a translation device. "I am the High Counselor, Vexener. We welcome Earth into the galactic community." Miller stepped forward. "On behalf of the Earth, we are honored to meet you and hope this marks the beginning of peaceful relations." The meeting lasted hours. The council members explained the structure of galactic politics, trade routes, and the laws that governed interstellar relations. But as the conversation continued, Miller began to notice something troubling. "So to be clear," he said, "you are offering us protectorate status, not full membership of the council." "Full membership must be earned," Vexener responded. "It could take centuries for a species as young as yours to qualify," Captain Ward frowned. "And these restrictions on our ships are saying that we cannot expand beyond our current colonies." A smaller alien with translucent skin responded, "It's for his own protection. There are many dangers in space that you are not prepared to face." Later, aboard the ship returning to Earth, Ward was unable to contain his frustration. "They are treating us like children. Have you seen the technology they are refusing to share? Medical advances alone could save millions of lives." Miller sighed. "I don't like it either, but what choice do we have? Their ships could destroy our entire fleet in minutes if they wanted." Over the next few weeks, Earth's leaders debated the terms of the council. Some advocated rejection, but fear won. Humanity officially accepted protectorate status, along with the strict limitations it imposed. 6 months later, Miller was at the United Nations Hall as the agreement was signed. The restrictions were significant. No expansion beyond current colonies, limited weapons technology, and council oversight of all human space activities. In return, the council offered protection and limited access to foreign knowledge. As the ceremony ended, Miller noticed a group of aliens he hadn't seen before watching from the sidelines. They had dark, leathery skin and sharp teeth that appeared when they spoke. "Who are they?" he asked a nearby Sarlachian for help. "For a very representative race, a proud warrior race. Don't worry about them." That night, as Miller gazed at the stars from his apartment balcony, he couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. Captain Ward joined We Look at him, with his uniform starched despite the late hour. "We made a terrible mistake," she said calmly. "It was the only option," Miller replied, although his voice lacked conviction. "No, there is always another option." Ward's eyes remained fixed on the stars, and I fear we will learn this lesson the hard way. None of them knew that at that very moment the Dravery were already planning their first attacks on distant human mining operations. The Council had promised protection, but humanity would soon discover how empty those promises were. 5 years have passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council as a protectorate. What started as a difficult partnership grew worse with each passing month. Promises of protection turned out to be empty, especially for the outer colonies. The head of security, Ethan Brooks, stood in the ruins of what had once been a mining outpost on Proxima Centauri. The attack left little position. Singed metal and broken equipment were scattered across the landscape. This was the 3rd attack this month. Same standard as the others. Brooks said into his recorder, "Precision strikes on defense systems, then general destruction of equipment and supplies. 12 workers missing, presumed captured." He paused, looking at a dark stain on the floor. 3 confirmed deaths. His assistant, a young officer named Julie Patel, approached with a damaged data pad. "Sir, I found this. It has partial images of the attackers. The grainy video showed ships with a distinctive spiky design. Dravery invaders again. Back on Earth, Brooks delivered his report to a joint meeting of Earth government and council representatives. The room was tense, human employees on one side, aliens on the other. This makes 27 confirmed Dravery attacks on human settlements last year. Brooks concluded, "We documented everything in accordance with board protocols. We request immediate action under the protection clause of our treaty." On the other side of the table, the council's diplomat, Tordezek, made a dismissive gesture with one of his forearms. "We analyzed your previous reports and found the evidence. Not convincing. They could be accidents or the work of human pirates." President Howard slammed his hand on the table. "Human pirates with Dravery ships. This is absurd. The council demands absolute proof before intervening in what may be merely criminal activity rather than species aggression." Zextor responded. As the meeting ended without resolution, Brooks received an urgent message from Susan Kelly, administrator of the Proxima Centauri colony. "They are back." Her voice shook as she spoke through the static-filled transmission. "Force majeure this time. Our defenses will not resist. We've sent distress signals to the council outpost in the next system, but they claim they can't respond without authorization." Brooks took the message to military command. General Patricia Moore authorized an immediate relief mission, but it would take days for human ships to reach Proxima Centauri, even at high speed. The fate of the colony depended on the council's intervention. When the council representative was informed, he cited procedural requirements that prevented immediate action. "We must convene the special commission to analyze the situation. It is regrettable, but these processes cannot be rushed." 3 days later, Brooks was in the colony's central square, now a makeshift hospital and morgue. Violence has reached New Montana, the largest settlement in the Proxima system. More than 1,200 people died. Thousands more were injured. Council peacekeepers arrived hours after the group left. "They could have saved us," an injured settler told Brooks. "Their outpost is less than an hour away, at full speed." That night, a transmission from Earth brought more bad news. The council officially classified the attack as a regional security incident rather than an act of war, limiting response options. Brooks met with Colony Administrator Kelly in what was left of her office. The wall behind his desk was gone, revealing the purple sky of Proxima Centauri. "We were abandoned," Kelly said calmly. 5 years following their rules, limiting our weapons as they demanded, trusting in their protection. And now this. Brooks looked through the broken wall at the long line of body bags. "No, not abandoned," he replied, his voice hard with anger. "Betrayed." At nightfall, a municipal ship landed in the colony. Instead of help, he brought wraiths to ensure the humans weren't building unauthorized defenses in response to the attack. The council's message was clear. Human lives mattered less than maintaining control. Science officer Kevin West worked late into the night in his laboratory aboard the Orion Earth Defense Station. For months, he analyzed communication patterns between council ships. What began as simple curiosity turned into obsession after the New Montana massacre. Tonight, everything changed. His decryption program finally cracked the board's security codes. Data flooded his screen. Messages between Sarlaxian officers and Dravery commanders. "No," Kevin whispered, his face pale in the blue light of the screen. "They wouldn't do that." But the evidence was clear. The Sarlaxians shared Earth's defense plans, colony locations, and patrol schedules with the Dravery. They knew about the attacks all along. They helped plan them. The next morning, Admiral Frank Howard's face darkened with rage as Kevin presented his findings to Earth's military leadership. "Are you absolutely right?" the Admiral asked in a tense voice. Kevin nodded. "The encryption was complex, but the content is unmistakable. See this message 3 days before the attack in New Montana." The screen showed a star map of the human colony's defenses with major weak points highlighted. At the bottom was a message in Sarlaxian script, translated by Kevin's program. "Strike here. Minimal resistance is expected. Council forces will delay the response by 6 standard hours." Admiral Howard banged his fist on the table. "They were making fools of us while our people were dying." General Patricia Moore, who had been watching silently, spoke. "This changes everything." She pressed a button on her wrist device. "Secure the room." Metal shutters slid over the windows. "Signal blockers activated. What I'm about to say doesn't leave this room," she continued. "Over the past year, We have secretly built ships and weapons beyond the Council's restrictions. Phoenix Project. Kevin looked at her in shock. This is a direct violation of our treaty. A treaty with those who are actively helping to murder our people, Admiral Howard responded. I authorized it myself. General Moore brought new images to the screen. Shipyards hidden in the asteroid belt. Underground weapons facilities on Mars. Thousands of soldiers training in secret bases on Earth's moon. We have 50 warships ready now. Another 100 will be completed in 6 months, she explained. And that's not all. She nodded to a man sitting silently in the corner. This is Daniel Thompson. He leads our engineering team. Daniel took a step forward. He was younger than Kevin expected. Maybe early 30s with tired eyes that suggested long nights at work. We have developed shield technology that surpasses anything the Council has shown us. Daniel explained. We reverse-engineered river ships damaged by the attacks. So we improve your designs. He brought technical diagrams on the screen. Our ships are smaller but faster. Our weapons are more accurate. And our shields can withstand 3 times the firepower of standard city ships. The room fell silent as the implications sunk in. Humanity was preparing for war without the Council's knowledge. The silence was broken by an urgent message. A Council inspection team discovered one of the hidden shipyards during a routine sweep of the asteroid belt. They demand that we dismantle all ships and subject them to heightened supervision. The messenger reported. They issued an ultimatum, disarm or face sanctions. Admiral Howard looked around the room. It's time to decide. Do we bow down again, or do we defend ourselves? As if in response, another message arrived. This one from a human spy in the Council files. Attached were hundreds of confidential Council documents spanning centuries. They revealed a pattern. The Council systematically kept dozens of species weak and dependent, just as they did for humans. Those who resisted disappeared from galactic records. Kevin scrolled through the files with growing horror. They never intended to treat us as equals. This was their plan all along. General Moore's expression hardened. So it's time for a new plan. Our plan. As they talked into the night, none of them noticed a small Council probe observing the station from a distance, recording everything and sending it back to Tarlaxian High Command. The day humanity lost all faith in the Galactic Council began like any other. Colony Supervisor Andrew Clark was reviewing harvest reports at Europa Station when the alarm sounded. 7 human colonies in different star systems were attacked simultaneously. It's a coordinated attack, Clark said as he watched the emergency signs light up on the display. They are getting everything right at once. Europa Station's defense network was automatically activated. Clark ordered all civilians into underground shelters when the first river ships appeared on the scanners. Send the distress signal to the Council outpost. He told his communications officer and got me a direct line to Earth Command. On the colony world of New Titan, communications specialist Michelle Torres crouched behind a fallen wall as Dravery ground forces advanced through the settlement. Your recording device captured everything. The accuracy of the attack. The systematic destruction of defense systems. Then she heard something that made her blood run cold. 2 Dravery commanders speaking in their harsh language, unaware of their presence. His translator caught fragments. Council ships are delayed as promised. Defenseless humans. Take what we want. Torres activated his emergency beacon, transmitting the recording directly to Earth. She had to make sure someone heard this. Proof that the board was actively coordinating with the attackers. Across human space, the attacks followed the same pattern. Council forces that should have responded were mysteriously delayed or diverted. By the time any help arrived, the Dravery had already left, leaving devastation behind. The death toll rose every hour. 5,000 in the TAS-CD system. 8,000 at the research station orbiting Epsilon Eridani. Almost 15,000 on New Titan. In total, 30,000 human lives were lost in a single day. On Earth, the United Defense Command Center was in chaos as the reports came in. Admiral Howard looked at the number of casualties with a stony face. Where are the Council peacekeepers? President Catherine Russell demanded. Exactly where the Dravery want them. Opened us up to the wolves. As darkness fell over the devastated colonies, a new feeling spread among humans everywhere. It wasn't fear anymore, it was anger. 3 days after the devastating attacks, Earth's leaders gathered at the lunar base for an emergency meeting. Security was strict. No foreign representatives were invited. President Catherine Russell stood at the head of the table, her face revealing the tension of sleepless nights. "We lost more than 30,000 people," she began, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "Our colonies are in ruins. Our relief efforts are blocked. This situation is no longer sustainable." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed his words. Military officers, colony representatives, and government officials knew what she meant. Something had to change. Admiral Howard played Michelle Torres' recording of Dravery commanders discussing council coordination. Next came the viral message from Europe station's Andrew Clark. Finally, the evidence Kevin West uncovered shows years of board manipulation. "We now have proof that the council has been working on violence against us," Howard said. "They betrayed all promises of protection." Dr. Alan Peterson, head of the Xenorchaeology department, raised his hand. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. "There's more," he said calmly. "My team has been translating old records we found on Proxima before the attacks. They show that this is not the first time the Council has done this. For thousands of years, they followed the same pattern with dozens of species." He projected images of the ancient text onto the main screen. "First, they offer protection and impose restrictions. They then allow controlled attacks to keep the species weak and dependent. Any civilization that becomes too strong or independent simply disappears from the galaxy's records." Skeptical, President Russell's expression hardened. "So what are our options?" General Moore stepped forward. "We have 3 options. First, we can continue as we are, watching our people die while we pretend the Council will ultimately protect us. Second, we can openly confront the board with our evidence and demand justice, knowing that they control the system. Or third," she paused, and the room became tense. "Third, we can withdraw from all agreements with the board and act on our own." As if on cue, the communication system chimed. A council ambassador appeared on the screen, moving his forearms in agitation. "President Russell, we have detected unauthorized military gatherings on your moon. This violates Section 12 of our protection agreement. You will immediately separate and submit to inspection." Russell looked at the alien face for a long moment before responding. "No." The ambassador blinked all 4 eyes. "I don't believe you understand the gravity." "We understand perfectly," Russell interrupted. "Your protection is a lie. Their treaties are traps. Your promises are empty." The ambassador's skin changed color, showing anger. "This is a dangerous conversation. President Russell, the Council demands your immediate compliance with disarmament procedures. Further human military development will not be tolerated." The leaders around the table exchanged glances. This was the moment of decision. Russell stood tall. "The death of 30,000 humans will not be tolerated. Betrayal of trust will not be tolerated. Manipulation of our species will not be tolerated." She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each person present. When she saw the resolution, she returned to the screen. "Terra hereby withdraws from all treaties and agreements with the Galactic Council, effective immediately." The ambassador's face showed shock and then contempt. "You made a serious mistake. No species survives outside the Council's protection. The inspection vessels are already on their way to their colonies." Russell nodded to Lieutenant Ben Carter, who was silently waiting for this signal. He left the room to begin a mission that had been planned for days, extracting all human diplomats from the Council headquarters before they could become hostages. "My people are coming home." "Ambassador," Russell said firmly, "all of them. And when they are safe, we will show you exactly what humanity can do without your protection." When the ambassador began to threaten consequences, Russell cut the transmission. The room erupted into a tense argument. There was no turning back now. Humanity chose independence, no matter the cost. General Patricia Moore was in the command center of the hidden asteroid base when Operation Phoenix began. All around him, displays lit up as humanity's secret fleet powered up for the first time. 150 warships, hidden for years in asteroid cavities and underground bases across the solar system, are now revealed. "All ships report readiness status," his advisor announced. Moore nodded. "It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you push humanity too far." The first test came sooner than expected. The AIXR-Laxian surveillance fleet entered the Tau CD system, where one of humanity's most damaged colonies struggled to recover from Traveria's attacks. The Carlaxians brought no help, only demands for surrender and obedience. "Humanity must be pacified," the Carlassian commander transmitted. Resistance is futile and will only bring more suffering. The colonists, still burying their dead, watched and despaired as alien ships filled their sky. Then something unexpected happened. Space seemed to ripple as 30 human ships abandoned faster than light travel. They were smaller than the Council ships, but elegant and deadly in appearance. Commander Jason Grant's voice cut off all communication channels. "This is the Earth Defense Fleet. You are in human space without permission. You will leave immediately." The Carlisian commander laughed. "Your kind has no authority here. The Council governs this sector. Your primitive ships are no match." His words were cut short when the human fleet opened fire. The ensuing battle shocked the Council's forces. Human shields absorbed hits that should have destroyed their ships. Human weapons cut through alien defenses once considered impenetrable. In 20 minutes, it was over. The Carlisian fleet retreated, leaving behind disabled ships and stunned survivors. Similar scenes played out in human-colonized systems as the Phoenix fleet revealed itself. The news spread quickly throughout the Council space. Supposedly primitive humans built advanced warships in secret and were winning. On Earth, President Russell addressed humanity. "For years, we followed your rules while our people died. No more. Today we show the galaxy that humans will never bow to oppression again." The Phoenix fleet's next target was Boulder, the Dravery's main concentration area, where they prepared for attacks on vulnerable species. Commander Grant led the attack personally. "These are the monsters that killed our families," he told his crew. "Today we bring justice." The battle was fierce but one-sided. Human ships, built with technology, reverse-engineered from the wreckage of the Dravery and improved by human ingenuity, systematically disabled enemy ships. The Dravery, accustomed to attacking the defenseless, were defeated. Within hours, the staging area was under human control. Thousands of captives of various species were freed from the Dravery slave pens, including hundreds of humans captured during previous raids. The Council, shocked by the sudden change in power, called an emergency session. For the first time in their history, they faced a species that had broken free from their control and was winning. "We should negotiate," a board member suggested. "They are only human," argued another. "Their victory is temporary." The oldest Sarlaxian, Grand Counselor, Zexmer, shook his head. "You don't understand what we did. We took them too far. We killed many of your kind." He activated a communication channel with Earth. President Russell's face appeared on the screen, calm and determined. "Humans," Zexmer began. "This conflict benefits no one. The Council calls for immediate negotiations and peace talks." Russell's response was brief. "You had your chance at peace." As the Council debated their next move, reports came in from across the galaxy. The human ships were making contact with other species that had suffered under the Council's rule. The Tellarites, the Vega Collective, and others were joining humanity. For the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Council faced something truly frightening. A coalition of the oppressed, led by the most underrated species of all. 2 months after humanity's rebellion began, the galaxy looked very different. The human-led coalition freed 17 worlds that had long suffered under the Council's oppression. Each victory brought more allies to his cause. Dr. Laura Phillips was aboard the Alliance flagship, Freedom, as it orbited a newly liberated world. Once a simple scientist who studied alien cultures, she now led the information campaign that was helping to break the Council's power. "Ready to transmit, Doctor," said her assistant. Laura nodded and stood in front of the camera. His face would be seen on thousands of worlds in Council space. "People from the galaxy go," she began. "For a long time, the Tarlaxians and their Council claimed to bring peace and order. Today, we share the truth." The broadcast showed evidence collected from the Council's archives, secret plans to keep the younger species weak, records of deliberately organized conflicts, proof of resources stolen from countless worlds. "This is not protection. It's control. It's theft. It's slavery," Laura continued. "Humanity is with all who wish to be free." The transmission could not be blocked by the board's sensors. Human engineers have found ways to bypass their communications controls, just as they have overcome their weapons. On the Council's central world, panic spread among the ruling Tarlaxians. Several intermediary species that had long been loyal members of the Council, the Tinkerers with their crystal technology, the Rocks with their massive trade fleets, announced that they were leaving the Council to join the Human Alliance. Our entire system is collapsing, the Council's head of security, Forlac, reported. Humans share everything they learn. Each species they release joins their fight and brings new knowledge. In the large council chamber, the mood was somber. For thousands of years, they ruled through secrets and carefully controlled information. Now those secrets were exposed, and their power was fading. Admiral Howard led the human fleet in a daring attack on an important council military base. The battle was the largest yet, with over 300 ships on each side. By all traditional calculations, humans should have been overwhelmed. Instead, they achieved another victory. The Council's military commander, General Dravnik, sent an unexpected message after retreating. "I wish to discuss terms of surrender," he told Admiral Howard. "Not for all the Council's forces, but for my fleet. We were told that humans were primitive savages. That was a lie, like so many people told us." While Howard negotiated the surrender, Captain Ryan Cooper's scout ships made a crucial discovery in a distant system. Hidden among dead moons, orbited a massive space station, the Council's secret weapons facility. It was here that they developed the technology they retained from other species, Cooper reported to Earth. And according to our examinations, they are building something big, something desperate. President Russell called an emergency meeting of the Alliance's leadership. Representatives of 28 species gathered to discuss the discovery. "The Council is losing," Russell said, "but cornered predators are the most dangerous. We need to act quickly." The Tellarite ambassador, his first standing on end with concern, agreed. Their history shows that they would rather destroy a species than allow it to overcome them. They've done this before. Plans were made for a joint attack on the secret facility. Each member of the Alliance contributed ships and soldiers. This would be the largest known space battle in galactic history. As preparations continued, the Dravari made their own decision. Abandoned by their council, allies and facing defeat, they retreated to their home systems, taking their remaining fleets with them. "Let them go," Admiral Howard told his captains who wanted to pursue them. "They are not the real enemy. They were only the Council's weapon against us, as they have been against others. Our fight is with whoever points this gun." The Alliance fleet gathered near the edge of Council space. Thousands of ships of dozens of species, all united by the desire for freedom. In its center flew the human ships that started this revolution. Cooper looked at the massive fleet of his scout ship. "I never thought I would see this," he told his team. The Gal entire axis working together. His second-in-command smiled. All it took was for someone to get up first. 6 months after humanity's stance against the Galactic Council began, representatives of 35 species gathered on Earth. The Great Hall of the United Nations has been expanded to accommodate beings of all shapes and sizes. Some breathe different air mixtures, others require special gravitational supports, but they all came with a common purpose. The war is over. The final battle at the Council's secret weapons facility ended in coalition victory. The Carlaxians attempted to activate a superweapon designed to sterilize entire systems, but Captain Cooper's scouts discovered it in time. The coalition fleet destroyed the weapon and captured the installation intact, along with all of its advanced technology. After this defeat, the remaining Council forces surrendered. The galactic order that existed thousands of years ago fell in less than a year. Now came the hardest part, building something better. Admiral Howard stood at the entrance to the hall, watching the delegates arrive. Many were from worlds that were enemies just a few months ago. Yet here they were, talking, collaborating, and even laughing together. "Did you ever think you would see this day?" asked Elizabeth Taylor, former administrator of one of the destroyed colonies. She lost her family in the attacks, but channeled her pain into planning a better future. Howard shook his head. "Never. When we started, I just wanted to protect our people. I never imagined we would end up remaking the galaxy." President Russell opened the meeting. The room fell silent as she stepped onto the central podium. For too long, the galaxy has lived under the control of those who believed that domination was the natural order it initiated. Today we begin a new chapter where all species have a voice. The main screen's activated, showing the official dissolution of the Galactic Council. In its place would be the new Galactic Federation, with fundamentally different principles. Elizabeth Taylor presented the framework she developed with input from all member species. "The basis of our federation will be equality and mutual defense," she explained. "No species will dominate others. Everyone will have representation. Knowledge and technology will be shared, not accumulated. Delegates discussed details until late into the night. There were disagreements, but they were resolved with compromise and respect. Concepts that have been absent from galactic politics for millennia. To everyone's surprise, the Zarlaxian delegation requested permission to speak at the meeting. They entered cautiously, aware of the hostility their species now faced. Its leaders stepped forward. For 1,000 years, my people believed that keeping others weak made us strong. We were wrong. In just 6 months, your coalition has accomplished more than our council has done in centuries. We do not ask for leadership or power, but rather the opportunity to learn a better way. Bahal was silent as the delegates considered this request. It was Dr. Laura Phillips who finally responded. The very purpose of our federation is to move beyond the cycle of dominance and revenge, she said. If the Zarlaxians wish to unite as equals rather than as rulers, they should be given that chance. After much debate, the meeting agreed. Zarlaxians would join the Federation with the same rights and responsibilities as any other member. At the end of the conference, Admiral Howard was on the observation deck with representatives of several species that had once been bitter enemies. Together, they watched Earth's sunset paint the sky with brilliant colors. The price was high, said the Telluride ambassador, thinking of all those lost in the conflict. Very loudly, Howard agreed. But now we honor them by building something worthy of their sacrifice. A young Mancessor approached with news that the first joint science mission, comprised of members of 12 different species, was ready to launch. Their goal was to explore regions of the galaxy that not even the old council had reached. Howard smiled as he watched delegates celebrate this milestone. Humanity entered the galactic phase as a protected species, became warriors when necessary, and would now help lead a new era of cooperation. The stars no longer seemed threatening, but full of promise, a promise that this time would be fulfilled.